Hello, my name's Cameron Cobb, and this is my final presentation of a social media analysis for Kate's Club. First, I would like to thank the directors and managers of social media who are watching in the audience. I really appreciate your time, and I hope that you can take something away from the recommendations I have. For the agenda, we'll be looking at fan analysis for Facebook. We'll also be looking at visibility and post performance for all three platforms. We'll be looking at engagement for Facebook and Twitter, and along with these analyses, I will be giving some recommendations based on my own knowledge and outside information. Due to the present period where we are about to go into the second quarter of 2018, I figured it would be best to analyze that data from 2016 for Kate's Club. So all of this comes from the social media data for the organization between April, May, and June of 2016. For Facebook, I analyzed the fan distribution by age and gender. I took the last month in April, May, and June and averaged the numbers to come up with an average of each age group as according to the gender. There was a mostly female audience with 5 times more than males, and nearly 1/3 for each male, female, and unknown genders were within the 35 to 44-year-old age group. So when creating future posts, they should be gender and age neutral, since this organization is not geared at either male or female specifically, but to target the audience members, posts should be produced accordingly. And according to targetinternet.com, those within the 30 to 49-year-old age group are most likely to get their news from social media. So Kate's Club should focus on sharing a lot of content that also includes either organizational news or related news, and they can do so by including a link in their posts or just by updating followers on this type of information. For Facebook visibility, I analyzed the total impressions and total reach. I found that they followed similar patterns. May had 2 times as many as April for both total reach and total impressions, just about, and roughly 25% more than June. For visibility of Twitter, April showed almost 3 times as many impressions as June and nearly 40 times more impressions than May. And because Instagram did not have reach and impressions to analyze, I am looking at post frequency, and June had over 3 times as many as May and nearly double the posts made in April. For visibility recommendations, I'm going to primarily recommend some research I did regarding hashtags. Hashtags are a great way to spread posts to an audience that may have not otherwise seen it. Since they're grouped together on each of the different platforms in different ways, it just kind of helps to organize and centralize that content. So hashtags should be relevant, they should be brand associated, and they can even be used as incentives for following, such as to kind of encourage following to share that either hashtag or campaign, or even just Kate's Club in general. If, for instance, Kate's Club used a brand hashtag, incentivizing could be a retweet, or it could be a tangible prize that Kate's Club could partner with other organizations to offer, and this would just kind of help spread the word for depending on each platform. For Twitter, hashtags can yield twice as much engagement for posts as those without, and they should be used about 1 to 2 times per post. For Facebook, I noticed Skates Club uses hashtags, but they can actually hurt on Facebook as far as visibility and engagement. So they should be limited to 1 to 2 hashtags per post, according to shortstack.com. And for Instagram, that's really where hashtags shine. And Shortstack recommends as many as 11 plus hashtags, but since Kate's Club has a limited amount of Instagram data, I would recommend starting with 5 plus hashtags per post. For Facebook engagement, April had 40% more than each June and May, though, as far as post frequency goes, though it had the lowest number of daily page engaged users. May had about 2 times as many as April, and June had 30% more. For recommendations, I would definitely say consistency is key, and posts should be made on a daily basis with a weekly goal of 5 to 10 posts, according to socialmediaweek.org. Thursdays and Fridays are some of the days to receive the best engagement, and mid-afternoon is the best time frame for posting. Initially, Kate's Club, I think, should aim for creating Facebook posts on a daily basis. Then they can go for increasing to 2 posts every other day, and then eventually twice a day. And it can be adjusted accordingly from mid-afternoon to when their audience is most active. For Twitter engagement, April had almost 2 times as many tweets as May and June, though it had the lowest number of average engagement per tweet. This suggests that more tweets does not necessarily mean more engagements, just like we saw with the Facebook data. For recommendations, again, frequency of tweets is very crucial. You want to make sure you're not overproducing or underproducing. One day in April had over 30 tweets, though there were a lot of gaps where some days in May and June had none. It's better to not have those gaps, and according to socialmediaexaminer.com, it's best to produce 1 to 4 times a day, and that includes retweets as well. And time of day matters too. For instance, Social Media Examiner recommends posting between 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. to yield a 30% higher interaction rate than before or after. And so I think Kate's Club should kind of follow this pattern, especially with their audience being in the age range they are. So as opposed to posting very late at night or very early in the morning, stick with between 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. for tweets. For Facebook post performance, April had the most posts, but it also had the least amount of likes, comments, and shares in comparison to May and June. May had more likes and shares, and June had more comments, but again, April had a very much higher amount of posts than both months. So I think, as with the preview data shows, it doesn't necessarily mean that more is more, but instead that the specific content varies. For Facebook post performance recommendation, I would suggest a mix of content. Posts that include links, photos, videos are going to yield better results as far as performing well and getting your audience engaged. For instance, May had the highest number of likes and shares per post, and it had a really good amount of variety. It had 8 posts with photos, 1 with a video, and 7 with links. And while April included all of those as well, it was just a very excessive amount of posts in comparison. And according to website setup.org, spamming posts can be just as dangerous as not producing enough. For Twitter post performance, April had 10% more likes than May and nearly 50% more than June, though as similar to Facebook. May had 3 times as many likes per tweet as April, and June had nearly twice as many. So I think, again, this just goes with kind of focusing on content in quality instead of quantity. According to socialmediatoday.com, you should be including links and tweets with images and videos, and they perform better than those without. So I would suggest Kate's Club focus on producing tweets with richer content, such as photos, links, GIFs, and videos, and being consistent without being overproductive in their tweets. For Instagram post performance, post frequency and total likes showed similar patterns. For instance, May had the least amount of posts, and it also had the least amount of total likes for Instagram, and June had the most amount of posts and the most amount of total likes. So you can see where the patterns are similar there. For Instagram post performance, this social media platform had the least amount of followers as compared to Facebook and Twitter, and I think that kind of bulking up that content is a really good way to start and increase followers, especially since videos and photos from Facebook and Twitter for the organization, so long as they're relevant and appropriate, can be used on Instagram, especially with trends like Throwback Thursday. And while I think it's going to depend on who Kate's Club audience is and when they're most active, they should definitely start by not just posting on Mondays, which is what the Kate's Club was posting on during this time period, and start by posting once every other day, and then on to daily, and then twice a day, and then use those posts to see what times and days their audience is most active. Some of the key takeaways are appropriate continuous use of hashtags can help with visibility on all 3 social media platforms. Just use them appropriately. Don't use too many on Facebook, and make sure you're using relevant ones and keeping up with campaigns. Hashtags. No matter the platform, consistency is key. Content should be produced regularly without large gaps of time between posts. Spamming followers with an overproduction of posts and tweets can be just as hurtful as underproduction. So just don't aim to get out all tweets on one day or in one week, and kind of spread them out while still being consistent. Posts and tweets should be created beyond just text and include things like links and videos and photos to kind of make that content richer. Experiment with posting on different times and days to get a better idea of when followers are online and most likely to engage. That way, the future of posts can be thought of when creating content for Kate's Club. Here are my references, and thank you so much for watching my presentation.